Hi everyone, this is Dr. Essie Stacey, helping you to be well. Hi everyone, welcome back to the patient journey. We've got Tim, part 2, and you'll have watched him in part 1 and just seen how he really coped with the advice that I gave him. We took a look at his meals, and which were very sort of basic, I would say, and very ready mealish, pizza based, etc. And so I gave him some advice about maybe trying to get more bang for his buck, trying to increase nutrient density in his meals, introducing some fermentation into his meals. And so we're on a week on, and let's see how he's got on. Okay, let's have a look.
Okay, so today I am eating my Socojid pork strips, and I bought some calamari and got some avocado, but I have actually bought a little bit of a sourdough bread on the side. It is sourdough, so I think it should be okay. Anyway, and then I have put into the kefir some honey, and I put in some strawberries as well to try and, give my yogurt substitute kind of reinvention moment. Okay, so hopefully, but I am really starving now, really. It's been a long day thinking about food. Okay.
What were your thoughts behind putting that meal together?
Okay, I think I said that I had been to M&S, and that was I think I say in my vlog later on that it was a mistake. So I was just picking up. My eyes were on stalks, and I was going around going, "Ooh, that looks lovely. Ooh, that looks lovely," and I kind of figured. You just go through a phase of like missing bread. Like all of a sudden I've been thinking about toasties all the time, thinking how I miss my, not that I ever made them, but I know I had them. I would go out and buy some occasionally. So, and just to have, just a little bit of bread. So that's why I veered towards sourdough, thinking surely sourdough it's different. It's got to be a little bit, less awful.
Right.
But then I bought some little pots of calamari, and you'll see later some kind of like prawns and dried tomatoes, and I know it's a bit of a mishmash of a meal, but then I was just, I was like bam, bam, bam.
That meal's fine. I just want to get a grip on, what you're thinking when you're putting it together. What are your building blocks? What would you say your building blocks are?
Always some kind of ham or meat or bacon or something like that. And just trying to kind of have a bit of a green element to it. So I'm always like having avocado. That's my go-to kind of staple, I should say. But I'd like to say there was more kind of intricate building blocks, but they're not.
Yeah. And have you been? So you said you're missing your bread, but you've had the pizza. You had pizza last week.
Oh yeah.
So are you really? How many days was it in between having some kind of bready type thing?
I think it must have been about 2 days, something like that. It's not as if I have it. Like I didn't buy any bread this week when I went to Sainsbury's, but I did buy a couple of pizzas. But again, I won't eat them back to back at all. I'll just space them out.
So when you said you were missing bread, do you mean bread, or because if you had pizza just like 2 days before, how were you sort of really craving? Is it that you need something doughy every day? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
I don't think I do. No, I'm not that bad. It's just I don't know. It's just maybe I'm a bit limited in my kind of like cooking kind of resources, and you know, it's
what's the thinking behind not having bread? Why would you take bread out?
Because I know, you know, it's obviously it's carbs, and also it's fattening, really, pretty much.
Why do you say that? Fattening?
Well, I don't know. I always think it is, isn't it?
Because it's a carb.
Yeah, it's a carb. Yeah.
Well, if you're what I'm going to get you to do is to go through the sugars module. So that's the first clip. We've got a few clips coming, and just to bring a few things out of that. One is that he's done really well, hasn't he? He started already fermenting his meat, and maybe for some of you that's a new thing. But when you do that, you are breaking the meat down and making it easier for your body to digest. But you're also, the bugs that are breaking it down are also creating more bioactive substances. They create vitamins, they create antioxidants, things that are anti-inflammatory. So you're getting more bang for your buck. I keep talking about that, a nutrient-dense, nutrient-rich food. I don't mean carb rich. I mean the nutrients that are going to keep you well, that are going to lower inflammation in your body, that are going to let you detox naturally from the toxins that are in our environment. And as humanity progresses at the moment, where we are right now, we've got more toxins in our environment than ever. And that means that we do have to modify the way we eat. We do have to eat foods that are going to help us to detoxify, drink water that's going to help us to detoxify, and let alone avoid the things that have got toxins in them. So we are at a point where we do need to modify our diets. And Tim's doing that. He's doing that. He's got his kefir going, and he's got the fermenting meats going there as well. I didn't answer his question about the carbs and it being fattening, because really I want it to be more than that. So if you want to know whether carbs are fattening or not, then you can go and have a look at the sugars and the fasting module on my website, and there's a whole module on all of that. But also look at toxins. That I've got a module just on toxins, and that's going to explain also where those toxins are lurking. So sometimes I might be advising people to take things like grains and cereals out because of what they do to your metabolism and your insulin, but it may also be because of the toxins that are lurking within. So anyway, we've got quite a few bits to get through, so let's carry on.
Just to say that the Sir Kojid pork strips are super tasty, actually. Really doing the trick, as is everything else, as you can see. I'm not halfway through, but it's a huge success.
So that's the Sir Kojid's.
Yeah. It's just the prepping of it all, so that was very easy.
So, and was it as tasty? Because we compared it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I think it's as tasty. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't really, figure there was a difference. I've had some Sir Kojid bacon later on in the week, and that was like, it's cool. It's absolutely no problem.
Wow, so that's massive. And was it too much of a problem to prepare it?
No, it wasn't. I just needed to be given.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Pour it on the meat. Done.
But we can do that, can't we? I can give you the chicken, give you the pork, give you whatever, squirt some on, next day.
You're laughing.
Yeah. So that's a major step forward, because if the thing about eating all of your food out of a packet is not only you getting toxins from the plastic packaging, the nutrient value, even though it looks nice, isn't half as powerful as when you ferment the food and you bring more nutrients out of the food. So if part of craving things is your body feeling that it's nutrient deficient, and so if you can gradually give your body the nutrients it needs, it suddenly doesn't crave those things.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking just now about, because I basically go for the whole day. I know I have a banana, I know I have about 4 grapes or whatever for lunchtime, but that has been really good this week. And I'm always like thinking I need something which is going to fill me so I can actually get through the evening, otherwise, you know. And I think maybe it's the bread, which is which will really do the trick, which will really fill me, you know.
It's really interesting, this thing about being filled up, and we'll come to that once we go through some of the others.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, go on, were you going to say something about that?
But it is interesting because every time I finish my eating, and normally in the olden days, and maybe, you know, when school starts, I'll be opening these cupboards and reaching for walnut whips. But actually, I do realise it's being triggered, really. I mean, the bread probably does trigger me, thinking like I do need some more carbs. And later on in the week, I went round to a friend's and I had this gorgeous pasta, and I was just thinking, oh my word, I'm so triggered, I could eat another plate of this, you know. And it couldn't need to, but it was like, it's just fascinating, the mindset, really.
It's also the gut set. It's the gut set as well. There are certain microbes in our profile of microbes in our gut that will hone in on that type of thing. And it's about fostering in your gut a profile that is mainly made out of things that are going to crave meat or just be satiated with when you're properly full. And that doesn't mean when you feel like you're bursting. Or let's say it this way. The French always say je n'ai plus faim, which means I'm no longer hungry. It's not I'm full. you know?
Yeah.
There's a phase between being no longer hungry and full. And the gut microbes, there are a set of them that we should foster that tell us we're no longer hungry, instead of I'm full.
I'm stuffed, yeah.
Now those I'm stuffed, I really get the impression that they are linked to the emotions. Now in one of my webinars, I talk about the gut, brain, adrenal gland axis. Now, the gut, the brain, and the adrenal gland are linked. The adrenal gland is what it produces adrenaline, noradrenaline, the stress hormone cortisol.
Okay.
But also, what is little known is that the gut produces this stress hormone as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and so if our gut, and if it produces that hormone in the gut will come with its friends. Is you know, its microbiological friends, which will want you to be full, because who knows what we're going to have to
what's going to happen
next. You know, you might need to have to survive for a long time without any food. You know, we need to be fed. It's so fascinating. And if we can get to the point where not only if we start to deal with the brain, which then deals with the adrenal gland and feeds back on the gut will also settle. So we're going to tackle it from different ends.
Yeah.
So let's continue.
Okay, so it is Sunday, and today has been a long day. Just kind of coping with food. And I have just had 3 yogurts late at night. And they were going out of date, so I felt I had to eat them. But I have washed them down with some kombucha, so maybe all is not lost. But yeah, now you kind of feel disappointed with yourself, and yeah, it's tricky trying to instill discipline yet not be consumed by the uphill struggle. Anyway, so yeah, finishing off today, not in a brilliant state of mind, but it's been worse, let's face it. So 3 yogurts late at night, hey. Anyway, tomorrow's another day. But yes, no, it was difficult trying to have the day stretched out, trying to get myself through the day. And yeah, I only had a banana at lunchtime, and 4 grapes, and endless amounts of coffee to get me through. But yeah, anyway, there you go. Signing off.
So yeah, I suppose that was the only day or the only evening in which I crumbled, and it was one of those days, you know, I don't know why, you know, where you're just thinking, my word, this is like, your thought process is just like, I could really murder some, you know, some cookies or, you know, crisps, and that happened, I think, really late in the evening. It was literally, I was like, you know, almost like gripping the chair, thinking, you know, shall I, you know, and so yeah, but it's that spiral, isn't it, which we all probably face about, you know, okay, I've stumbled, and you know, it's like, oh, woe is me, and it's a difficult one, you know, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It really is just kind of like, you need somebody just to hold you back.
Well, you do, but at the same time, you need to let those emotions surface and analyze them. So, if we look on the purely food plane of things, how did the kefir go with that?
I'm finding the kefir, every time I have the kefir, it's like, yeah, it's okay. You know, and I've been like whacking all these strawberries in, and like, you know, whacking in the honey and going, but it's not quite, doesn't kick in as much as these lovely yogurts do, you know?
That's because of the amount of sugar in the yogurt.
Yeah. So I get it's probably just a process of going, you know, just retraining myself. And I know that in times gone past, I have come in, I've just had pure kefir sometimes, nothing chucked in it, and it's fine, it's okay, I can do it, but it just, you know, it's just not as comforting.
And so what I'm getting the impression, so the other thing about, there are 2 things to bring from where we're at right now is, when you have the fruit at midday, and well done for not overdoing the grapes.
I think I went to 9 grapes later in the week, something like that.
What that does, and I think this plays into the length of your day, etc. What that does is, when you have the sugar, your insulin goes up.
Well, even that small amount.
Yeah, well, a banana and those grapes is not a small amount,
It's
actually,
not.
no. Because I know you think you're just having 1 meal a day, but you're having 2, really. So, the insulin goes up,
Okay.
and then by the time you get to the evening, it comes plummeting down, and then you're starving. So you're taking yourself on this roller coaster because of the sugar.
Okay.
And what you could think of doing is maybe switching so that you've got something that is not so sugary at that point. Maybe your cabbage.
Yeah.
Even the cabbage and the fig together may not cause such a big insulin change at midday. So maybe play around with that, because if you get to the evening and you are starving, you're just going to wolf stuff down. And ideally, when you get to the evening, you're going to want to savor that meal and have a delicious, nutrient dense meal. This is the thing, if you're only eating once a day, inverted commas. It really needs to be, it has to have bang for its buck, that meal.
Yeah, no,
It has to contain all the nutrients that you need to keep you well. So there's that. And then the second part is, if the kefir, even though you put honey in it and the strawberries in it, is not doing the job, what comes to me then is, what do we feed? What are you needing to feed? What are you needing to feed at that point in time?
I don't know. It's just habit. I've just had it for so many years. Literally, I can't think of when I just never not had, you know, a nice array of yogurt / walnut whip / you know, I went through a phase of eating a massive bar of Aero each evening.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it was lovely. And I kind of felt Aero's just like full of air, so it's okay.
Love it. What I propose, in order, because it seems to me that you're going through, developmentally, you're going through a change. The fact that you don't need to eat a whole bar of Aero means that you've come through that. You know.
You can edit that one out.
But remember, it was telling, because remember last time we talked about when you were a kid, you had everything, you got given everything that you wanted, sweets-wise.
Yeah, sweet-wise, yeah.
And I believe that parts of our personality are stuck in these partitions. And it's as if that part of you is now growing.
Yeah, a bit late in the day, but hey.
Who says what time that should be, you know? And so you've been through that phase where actually you don't need to eat the Aero. That is, you jumped developmentally.
Yeah.
You may not think of it as that, but you have. So the point where you're at, where you're eating 3 yogurts, I mean, in many ways, 3 yogurts is neither here nor there, right? But the point is, you're feeding something other than your need to eat for your nutrition. And how do we deal with that? Now, I think we've got some of the way, even just uncovering that inner child in you. What I would like is, I know you're vlogging, but I'd like you to write down after you either before you vlogged or, in fact, before you vlogged, just to write what you ate and how you felt when you ate. So if you ate something like the pizza or the bread or something like the yogurt or something like that, just stop and close your eyes and take yourself back to what you were experiencing when you ate, and let your mind just go back to a part of your childhood to see what comes up, and then write that down. Because in the writing down, more than just speaking out, because in many ways, when you speak it out, you hear it and it just goes back into that circuit. You're looking at it, but it's actually still going back into your behavioural circuit. But whereas when you write it down, it's as if you're discharging it in a concrete way. So just close your eyes and think, okay, ask yourself that question, what was I feeding? And just see where you go. You know, you were able to say to me before, look, I wanted this, and I got it all. So what are you feeding? And it may be something completely not to do with your childhood or what have you. But I believe in order to overcome that, then we need to deal with those deeper things, that inner child that's growing. And it's not a discipline thing, because you can go all day without eating. So it's not about discipline. It's about the inner stuff. So let's see where we're at.
I think there's a pizza moment.
Yes.
So tonight on the menu, I have got homemade on the good bit, which is M&S, king prawns and semi-dried tomatoes. A little bit of my sourdough, but also this stone-baked pizza. I know it's not
totally healthy, but hey. And then as usual, my kefir with some honey and strawberries in it. And also the lovely berry kombucha, which is super delicious. That's a real hit, actually. It's lovely. So hopefully this will get me through tonight without me having to resort to the yogurts, but we shall see. Okay. Yeah, well, that was an M&S pizza.
Does that make it good?
Yeah. Well, it's just that, but I guess I said I haven't been to M&S for years, literally.
Right.
And it was on special, you know, so I thought, I'm having that. Just to see, I don't know, it's funny, isn't it? It's the marketing.
It
and
is.
It's the packaging. You're thinking that's going to be even more tastier than, you know, Sainsbury's for some bizarre reason. It probably wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
You'd go, ooh, this is amazing.
But I can show you how to make the base so quickly. If I show you, do you think you would be able to have a go?
Yeah, my gut, for want of a better term, is actually saying I need to cut out pizzas, full stop.
Right, okay.
Really. I just think, you know, it's such a comfort moment. Although I am thinking this week, just heads up, of going out to Fata Romano to enjoy half-price pizza before.
Exactly. Just what's his name's let's get fat to cope with the second wave thing.
It's working.
That one, yeah,
there,
okay. I think there's no harm in having a day of your choosing where you just have a treat day. I think rather than, you know, it feeling like self-flagellation, then have a day when you're just like, okay, that day I'm gonna go out to eat, or we all know vaguely when we're gonna, you know, go to a friend's or, you know, go out to eat or what have you, and just plan for that day. The rest of the time, you know, you're in health mode, because because so much food is about feeding something more than hunger. As once we begin to get a grip that that's what we're feeding, and we can shed that idea from our body, then actually we can then go out and enjoy those times instead of feeling guilty after going out with those times. But it's about managing the times when the rest of the time, when we basically need to replace the desire to eat for something else with normal life. Life shouldn't be about thinking about food the whole time, which is, you know, you're displaying it. We all display it. A lot of the population displays it. It's thinking about food. I've eaten, when can I next eat? You know, rather than what amazing things am I going to get out of this day?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the shift comes, is you can start your day by perhaps thinking, what amazing things am I going to get out this day? And practice that, because it's not going to happen overnight. And then suddenly, as we get these swings, the metabolic insulin swings out the way, you'll be like, oh, it's evening. You know, I've got this delicious meal. Done. So let's have a look at the vlog.
So I hope I hope you enjoyed that. It's fascinating for me because we're looking at Tim, and he doesn't have huge health problems. He's trying to get his eating under control. But I see these struggles with food all the time. And it doesn't matter. A lot of my patients have fibromyalgia, so they've got pain, chronic pain, or diagnoses that people don't know what to put a label on, things like that. And we're tackling toxins in the environment, toxins in food, and changing the way we eat. And often what I'm battling with or trying to help people with is their attitude to food. And when we begin to get to the base of it, it is that question comes up is, what am I feeding? And if you've gone through my hierarchy of health webinars, you'll see I talk about toxins affecting the DNA, toxins affecting water, and those toxins can be things like heavy metals, plastics, etc. But they're also stuff in our subconscious. And it's the stuff in our subconscious that pushes us to want to eat the rubbish. And so when I'm helping people to get back to health, then we have to deal with the rubbish underneath, the subconscious drivers, the subconscious desires and passions. And as we begin to strip food away, often those issues come up or need to be dealt with. Sometimes come up with anger. I get anger directed towards me quite a lot of the time, to say, well, you put me on this diet and I can't eat this and I'm miserable and I'm this and I'm that. And yet they've come to me because they've been in great pain or what have you, and I'm saying, but are you in pain now? Or are we, so it sort of shifts, and actually what it's doing is uncovering the stuff underneath. And that's why very much I like to work with special people like Siggy, who's a holistic massage therapist who helps to bring that stuff to the surface. I love what Barbara's doing, Barbara Pidgeon, with breathing. I like what Sue Bratch's doing, bringing out that inner child to help us to deal with food. So that question, what am I feeding, is a really is a valid one, and I haven't met very many people, myself included, that doesn't have to deal with that. So let's move on to Tim's vlog.
Okay, so it's Tuesday night, and no, I haven't eaten anything after my supper, so that's good news. I kind of finished eating around 5:30, so just had the usual coffee and some white wine tonight. The massage today was good. I think the muscles down my spine, around my spine and kind of on my glutes and on my calves, they were the sore points. But what was interesting is that she said my breathing, which was quite shallow, and I needed to go deeper with my breathing, and that actually made sense, because I'm still having difficulty with my breathing when it comes to my singing. So that was just really interesting and really quite telling, I thought. So yes, I shall be going back to see her in a couple of weeks' time. Another pretty positive day, I would say. Oh, and I went for a run this morning, a midweek run, so another 5k, which again is pretty tortuous, but trying to up my anyway, I need some more exercise, basically. That's the bottom line, and so I'm trying to up my exercise. Small steps. Okay.
Okay, good. So you went to see Siggy.
Yeah, I went to see Siggy, which was very good, very good. And again, I don't go for many massages, but she was doing. There were some real pressure points. I'm sure everybody's got them, but having kind of been injured in the past, I know where my pressure points are. But she did my stomach, as well, which was, I think, and nobody's done my stomach before, so that was really good. And just like massaging, is it the small intestine or something like that? You know.
And what did she feel? What did you feel during that time?
Well, yeah, I don't know. She felt it wasn't painful, but it was, you know, an element of discomfort, dare I say, you know. So you can, it brings that whole kind of inflammation kind of like moment up. And I think I'm not sure if it was that night or the night before, I'd had, which I didn't actually vlog, another chicken masala kind of ready meal. I just thought, actually, this has to go. I can't have another one of these, because they're just, you just know they're pumped full of whatever it is, you know.
And I can show you how to make those really simply.
Yeah.
You know, really simply. We can make the sauce with, you know, very, very simply. Okay. And you just pour it onto your shoyu kojid chicken. So we can do that very, very simply. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, I think, as you said last week, with the blood tests, I needed to do more exercise.
Yeah, so your HDL.
Yeah, my HDL. So, again, just trying to, I think I will join the gym eventually once all the membership things are sorted out. But, just to try and do midweek. Yeah. You know, because it's just...
Can you do a walk? Because it doesn't have to be a run. Just walking. You know, you can put a book in a back, heavy book in your backpack and go for a walk for an hour. And that feeds into the breathing. So if she noticed that your breathing was shallow, that goes with my whole gut brain axis thing. So if you think of the stress response where you're holding yourself, you don't breathe deeply. And what you could do when you're walking, so you can walk 3 times a week to practice the breathing. You're practicing your breathing, you're doing some exercise. And I've got Barbara Pridden doing a webinar on breathing.
Okay.
It's fascinating. This lady, once that webinar's out, don't miss it, because she talks about her own story and how she transformed her own health, which was deep stuff going on, and also physical. She'd had back pain, chronic back pain. That went just through breathing. Okay. She was able to run a marathon age, I think, 50 something, faster than her son or something who was 35, after just the breathing practices. And one of the things that she says is not to do massive breaths, breathe, like the military person, is actually to have a smooth. She often says, be aware of your breathing first of all.
Yeah.
So one of the things she said to us was to just before bed, just sit and be aware of your breathing. And you'll find that actually you're up here somewhere.
Yeah, well, it's funny because my iPhone always tells me to breathe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
And I do, whenever I go running, because I just hate it, I always kind of have to speak to myself and just focus on your breathing, and just try and get your breaths kind of flowing a bit more. And hopefully that will get me through the agony of it all.
But I would say if you hate it, do the walk instead. Do the walk, but just do an extra walk rather than the run. Because if you hate it, you're giving off the hate hormones, which creates more inflammation, which just undoes everything that you've just done.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Joy. Those frequencies of joy and gratitude and, oh, this is so nice, that type of thing, going to feed into reducing inflammation.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but she was saying also that, so when you're out walking, just practicing a smooth rhythm of breathing. So smoothly in for 5, smoothly out for 5, or even more. So it's a smooth in and a smooth out, smooth in. And it's hard because you find yourself and also keeping your mouth shut.
okay.
So maybe practice that. And when that webinar is available, watch that so that you get more of a clue as to how to do that. Because that's, for me, that feeds into what Siggy has found with your breathing, feeds into the stress response, wherever that ball of stress came from in your life.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely an element of control. You know, you just, that whole, like, I know I certainly want to control my life.
Yes.
You know.
Okay.
And it's that control of, you know, that anxiety, I think, which you don't have. Nobody has control over their lives, really. You can do what you can do, but, you know, things kind of come and hit you. So I think that it's displayed in my breathing of just like, controlling my anxiety.
Yeah. What would happen if you didn't have control over your life? If you lost control?
I don't know, more anxiety, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, it's, you could say it would be more freeing, but it's just a methodology which I've just kind of like, you know, maybe subconsciously clung on to.
Yeah, it might be worth, as you are thinking about your breathing at night, just being aware of your breathing, that you go through that playbook of that you said, because it was those words that came out of your life that I want to be in control, is just going through that, just exploring that to say, what happens if I'm not? Just look at that scenario and keep looking at it until there's nothing left.
I think it's the element of, from a Christian point of view, of like God wanting you to be dependent on Him, you know, and it's something which I think people fight, that we crave our independence, and it's an anathema, if that's the right word, to actually shed your independence and become dependent on God in all areas of your life, and that's just a struggle.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. There's another way of looking at it, and Neville Goddard talks about this in his talks. It's worth having a look, because he says that if Christ is in you, then you have control. Yeah, because if Christ is living in you, you are Christ, and you determine what happens. And he talks about how we determine what happens. And I call that process that he describes imagi-feeling. I call it imagi-feel because he talks about imagining and feeling and basically creating a scenario for your future and then seeing that future unfold for you. So rather than giving, what he would say, rather than giving control to some external God, and then you're left with this void of fear, is allowing the light and the love of that being to integrate with your being so that you are one. And then where the Bible says you have the mind of Christ, then you determine what happens. So you go from this hypothetical situation where you're wrestling control, trying to give control, but wrestling with that, to actually let me be filled with light and love. And then actually, because it says, the Bible actually says that he wills in you to work according to his good pleasure. So the things that you desire are his desires, because he and you are one in you. You have the DNA and the water part of that. The part of God that is in you is God. You are what's called a fractal. You are a fractal of God, and the expression in this earth is Tim Stacey. Yeah. And so what you desire is what he desires. The good things.
No, sure. I think we can go around in circles and
their thoughts, but play around with that if you like, or listen to Neville Goddard and see what see whether you agree with what he says. There's a very good one that's called "Live in the End." It's a good. It's on YouTube. He's long passed into heaven now, but it's worth.
Okay.
Great. So
Good evening. It is Wednesday night, and yeah, no, it's good. It's I haven't eaten after 5:30. Had the usual coffee and a glass of wine, white wine. My lunch was, I suppose, I had my usual cabbage and 2 figs, which was good, and I just had a chicken tikka masala kind of, microwave, which is not the greatest, but hey ho. And then had some kefir with strawberries in it. So yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm quite pleased that I haven't, been delving into the walnut whips or the magnums. And it's not so painful, kind of, to go without. So, yeah. I had a banana and I think 8 grapes for lunch. So, but yeah, I would say about 3 or 4 coffees throughout the day just to get me through. Hey ho. Alright, so that is Wednesday. Okay, nighty night.
Yeah, so that was the chicken tikka masala, which
Moment, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
This is not good. It
I'm
really
going to
is.
show you so quickly how to make your own that you're just going to be devastated with surprise over how easy it is. So I've got coconut milk.
Okay.
I've got herbs, mixed herbs. This is the Moroccan one, Ras El Hanout.
Okay.
And so coconut milk in, and some Ras herbs
Yeah.
in, and the other thing is honey.
Okay.
In. That's it. Done. You can heat it up a little bit. Just warm it up a bit. If you want to get more bang for your buck in there, you put some of my powders in to start fermenting it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put a few of those in. I'll just. So you can make a big batch of this, right? So you could make a whole load of it. So I want to put some of the powders in there,
Okay.
which will start fermenting. That's gonna, all of those lovely stuff in the spices will amplify. So you're getting this nutrient dense cream to pour over your chicken.
So you would just warm that up and then pour it over.
Yeah. So I could have done the whole can, put that in, put some powders in,
The honey. Yeah.
leave it in the fridge, and then at night when you've already sugar-coated your chicken,
Yeah.
as your chicken's cooking, 5 minutes before the end, you just warm this up in some of it in a small pan, pour it over your chicken, done.
Done.
That is your substitute for that rubbish that you
Okay.
got and put in the microwave. Last vlog.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what happened on Thursday. So I actually went round to a friend's for dinner, knowing full well that I was going to have like a 3-course meal, I think, over there. I mean, they don't disappoint, thank goodness. And so I just had the usual. Did I have a banana for lunch? Maybe I had 1 banana for lunch, but then at 5 o'clock I had my usual cabbage and 2 figs to tie me over because we weren't going to eat till about 7:30, and I just thought, yikes, can I make it to 7:30 without going into meltdown. But no, it was okay. I had my figs and my cabbage at 5. And then, yeah, the meal was, I'll take you through it step by step because it was delish. We started off with a rocket salad which had walnuts in and blue cheese, and kind of a red wine kind of vignette. So that was lovely. And then we moved seamlessly on to some lovely fresh pasta from Waitrose with some kale, which I hadn't had actually for a long time, and I've forgotten how lovely kale is. So we had some kale and some broccoli and courgettes from the garden because they are really kind of organic types of people, which is good. And then for dessert, they had made a gooseberry crumble and also a rhubarb crumble, and I had a portion of both. So, and obviously washed it down with, you know, a fair amount of wine. So, it was lovely to actually, you know what I mean, have a nice slap up meal. And tonight, so that was Thursday night, and tonight, Friday night, yeah, I had a banana as usual, maybe 3 grapes or something like that. My lunch, I mean my dinner was pretty, I had some like usual figs and cabbage, that was good, but then I had stupidly bought this prawn cocktail, a best ever prawn cocktail, which I've taken a photo of, and I had that, and from M&S, which again I vowed never to go back to because it's too much. And I had a baguette, which again is like, you know, hey ho, but I didn't overeat, I felt, and I just had some kefir to balance out my Tesco Finest yogurt to try and kind of like, you know, because I haven't been to Tesco's for a long time. And yeah, I had a coffee, and now I'm just kind of, I've got some really pretty foul rosé, which I'm kind of trying to get through, but yeah, the evening is, yeah, it's a bit harder than usual, but I'm going to get through. Yeah, so that is that, but I suppose I haven't really, you know, crumbled or gone through, you know, some walnut whips or some magnums or, you know, all crisps actually, haven't. But no, I won't lie, it's a slog. It's a slog. Yeah, where's the fun in it all? But hey ho, no work, no gain. Hey ho, sober words. Okay, signing off.
So,
yeah, I think I won't lie. There are moments when you just think this is a slog. I think I felt it yesterday actually as well, thinking, kind of just have moments of just like wandering around the kitchen, kind of like caressing the cupboards. And thinking, oh dear, what am I going to eat? Oh, I'm going to have some cabbage. Oh, I'm going to have some figs, you know, and I'll get over it. Don't get me wrong, I'll get over it. And I'm seeing the benefits. Obviously, I'm trying to lose weight. You know, the usual.
do you feel like you've shed some?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, no, I know I have.
Excellent.
So, yeah, but there's still work to be done.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
not going to happen overnight.
No. But yeah, no, there are moments where you just think, oh, you know, you just want to, you know, all of a sudden just indulge yourself wildly. But and as you said, you know, you can still have a treat meal each week. But, you know,
I think the thing is to deal with what's over, because you know, your statement, where's the fun? You know, as if all fun has been drained out of all life.
Well, food is concerned.
Yeah, but no, it seemed like all life to me. That was like, the statement was as if fun has gone from all life if you can't eat the way you want to eat.
Yeah,
and that's why I said,
yeah.
that's where you want to be writing that down, is that where is just savor what you're thinking. Go back. So at the end of the day, go back through your day and pick out those moments and just close your eyes, take yourself back and write down what it is you're feeling, because it's the transformation of that part of you that's going to allow you to move forward. It's the why of those moments is, what does that, you know, it's as if that's opened up this hole that will take us down to some part of you that explains why we need food to give us joy, and joy is not coming from somewhere else.
Sure.
And part of the breathing is releasing that as well. And with the breathing, you're breathing in lovely things, breathe in your lovely scenery, breathe in the goodness, the light, the love, and breathe out the stuff that needs to go in a rhythmical fashion. So a few bits of homework being writing the stuff down, walking instead of doing the running that you hate, certainly during the week. And maybe just stop, you know, making some of that as well. Or you can have that and then just making some up for yourself.
Yeah, I just need to prep the meat.
And switching over, maybe just try. You don't have to do it every day, but try maybe having the cabbage and figs at lunchtime a few days.
Yeah, okay.
And see what that does to the swings.
Yeah.
If that does anything. That good?
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Fab.
Great. So he's been given his homework, and so this week really for him has been about doing a little bit in the kitchen, but also thinking about the subconscious reasons why we need to eat. And we'll see how he gets on. Does he come out of that slog, you know, next time? Is he able to, you know, to bring, is there any other joy in life other than eating? Does he come through that? So next time around, we're gonna see that, see Tim moving through, you know, this transition for him, and we'll pick up the blood tests again next time to see have they changed. You know, what impact has his life have on those blood tests, which don't lie. They give me an idea of inflammation, the triglycerides, the cholesterol, giving us an idea of inflammation. They're not about your fats, in fact. And also the glucose and the ketone index, just telling me again about what's been happening throughout the day, the previous day. So next time around, we're going to take that back up again, have a look at that. You hear him talking about figs and carbs. He really latched on to the figs and the carbs. And if you want to understand why he's doing that, then I've got a webinar on my website about figs and fig oil, garlic and olive oil, and the benefits of those. So check those out on the webinar on my website, dressy.com. And cabbage, again, there's fermented. I deal with fermented cabbage a lot because it's one of those gifts from God that it's cheap and can help us really return to good health. And I have modules on probiotics, which include the cabbage, and I have a webinar in my kitchen where I'm showing you how to make different types of fermented cabbage, not just sauerkraut, which a lot of people don't like. There's other things you can do with that. I think that's it really for now. So yeah, tune in next time it will be part 3 of the patient journey. I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, everyone, bye. That's it for now, everyone. Remember, change starts with you. Be well.